because of climate change and because of global warming, there will be a lot of job losses. People on the ground, because it would be very difficult for them to work on the ground because it will be so hot and warm.
And one of the biggest concern or the myth you can say they have is that this decarbonization or ESG comes with a cost, and they believe that sustainability is not for them, and that's why it's mainly for the bigger organization who has big pockets.
One has to look beyond that. You have to look at it as teething issues or initial issues. The cost of compliance is a short-term issue.
Yeah, hi. Welcome to 2 Degree Talks, a Fitsol podcast on sustainability and climate finance, where we meet and explore people, ideas, and systems shaping the future of the climate actions. I am your host, Anand Pathak, founder and CEO of Fitsol. Today, till now, we have done so many podcasts, but today is a little bit different because we are exploring the financial angle of the ESG. And with us is Sheetal Agarwal. She is a veteran in ESG and sustainable finance, and currently she is ESG and sustainable finance professional at IIFL. Over a career span, she has worked on to the side of business journalism, corporate communication, ESG strategy, and sustainable reporting. At IIFL, she has not only contributed to initiatives like IIFL Financial social financing framework, but she has been closely working with them in advancing responsible finance and ESG integration within the organization. Why it is important? Because most of our audience are SMEs and MSMEs. All they want to understand why they need to address their ESG goals, and if they are doing that, what are the financial support or the challenges that they might be facing from the compliance side and every other things. So I think that's why it would be a very interesting podcast for them. So hi, welcome Sheetal to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So you are joining from Mumbai, I think, and we are based out of Gurgaon.
Yes.
And I think let's start with is a little bit about your personal journey. Are you from Mumbai itself, or personal, professional, everything? It can be an icebreaker type, and it should be something like how you have kind of thing joined into this ESG side of the business when you started thinking, yes, it will be something that you are interested in, and that's where you have made a career out of this also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Yeah, Anand. Well, to answer your question, I have been born and brought up and raised in Mumbai, and have practically lived my entire life here. And so I am a Mumbaiker, true blue Mumbaiker. And when I started my journey, around 18, 19 years back as a business analyst / journalist, you would hardly hear terms like climate change, sustainability, ESG, hardly in any conversation, it was virtually absent by its, the absence was noticeable and prominent. So, one would never imagine that, you'd get into a career which would be like, where the sustainability part would be the center stone of it. But as students in school, colleges, we were told about the climate change, we were aware. So that was one topic which always intrigued me. I always read about it. Mm-hmm. And I think over the years when I transitioned away from journalism, after around 9 years in journalism, print and television, I started thinking what next. So, my journey led me to strategic communications, annual report, sustainability report. And that's when I started learning about ESG more seriously, helping corporates become more sustainable. And then that became my passion along with content. Mm-hmm. Because, a lot of companies need a lot of handholding, even today, when it comes to ESG, which you would agree to.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Definitely. And during your journey, there is something like there's one sustainability myth that you hear so often, and you think you wish it should just disappear.
Well, it's surprising that even today people come and tell me, oh, climate change is still far away. The effect of that will happen some years down the line. No, it's here, it's now, and how? Just look around. So the time to fight climate change, the time for climate action is now. It was yesterday, if you ask me, but now is good enough.
Yes, definitely. I think so also. And already our next generation, they're already bearing the brunt of that.
Yes.
And it's the right time. Already we are late in the action, and I think we need to cover up for the last miss actions or something that we have not done. So we need to cover up that also. Completely agree. Now, let's talk about something bigger picture. Like, for example, you have worked across journalism, corporate communication, ESG reporting, uh, sustainable finance now. So, looking back, what has been the biggest shift you have seen in how business thinks about sustainability? As you were telling, around 17 to 18 years back, it was not even kind of being taught in the colleges or something like that. But right now, if you are heading that profile at one of the larger institutions, you must have seen a biggest shifts in this. So, can you just throw some light on that?
Yeah, so it was when we started off, like when I started off 8 years ago, it was more like a nice to do. Oh, we are doing it. It's something that you talk about, and it was often confused. PSR and ESG were used
Yes.
interchangeably, and so those things have gone away. First, it's not a nice to do; it's a must do activity now for most of the companies who are aware. The large and mid-sized companies for sure are there, and I think regulators have played a very big role in that, driving that change, compliance, regulations, and then of course rising awareness. Whether it's investors, whether it is customers, whether it is any kind of stakeholder, important stakeholder that you look at, they have started asking those questions and they have started making those choices.
Yes.
Whether you look at your everyday choices, your food, your grocery, or you look at large corporations when they onboard value chain partners, when they give contracts, those things are all part of those contracts. Those things are part of selection criteria and all those things. So yeah, it has become a must to do, and it has become very, very imperative now, and it's a part of the business.
Completely agree. So we help most of our customers in their ESG journey, and we have also seen a shift in that. Yeah, and now they are not only talking about responsibility of they're also talking about how they can make their ecosystems, supplier ecosystem, everything more sustainable also. So they have taken a step now, I think, more, and talking about the complete ecosystem. That has been a meaningful change I have seen.
Yes, yes.
So you head both content and you lead both content and ESG at IIFL. How these two functions complement each other, and has the conversation around sustainability become easier nowadays? Because I think people have started understanding at least most of the terms, and it would have made it definitely easier. But I think, have you gone more, I think, technical, and people understand and people adapt to it very easily? And how these two functions are complementing each other at IIFL?
Well, I think when it comes to content or communication, the two, demystify your ESG performance, your ESG story. It is more about storytelling. It's more about de-jargonizing, because it's so heavy on KPIs, it's so heavy on jargons, the entire ESG reporting. So that is where the role of content and communication comes in. In business standard, back in the day in 2010, and 2017, that's where I was, that's the time I was in business standard. My boss used to tell me, write it in a way that the most layman, the most common person, the most simplest of homemakers can understand what you're writing. And that was for business journalism, business articles back then. It also applies to ESG, and more so now. Because if you look at our annual reports, our sustainability reports, the BRSR or the investor presentations, they all follow certain standards, the GRI standards, the BRSR standards that the SEBI has laid out. So there are those jargon, there are those terminologies, those KPIs. But in isolation, they do not mean anything. You have to put a storytelling to it, which is genuine, which is not something which is trying to deviate, the attention somewhere else. But at the same time, it complements the KPIs. So that is one thing. And also the auditability and credibility of your data, of your KPIs is extremely, extremely important. Even with BRSR, you see there is mandatory assurance, external assurance. To your second question, about how ESG, it's very interesting, because back in 2021, my journey with IIFL Finance started in March 21, and incidentally, that was also the time that IIFL Finance did its first, materiality assessment. We put out our first ESG policy, so it was a nice coincidence. I think I was just there at the right time, right place So,
Mm-hmm.
we were putting together our KPIs, our dashboards, we were engaging with all the teams, CHROs, CSR head, product head, all of them, admin head for the environment data. And they were asking us, Arey, but hum to NBFC hai. Why are we? We are not a manufacturing entity. Why are we doing so heavy, so much on ESG? So from then, and since then, and we are in 2026, and a lot of training, hand holding, benchmarking, gap assessment, and of course the support from the management, from the top management, we have been able to, instill a strong sense of awareness amongst our teams, and now they ask us, now they are pretty much aware, and now they ask us, oh, what can we do next? What can we do more? Tell me what are the best practices, whether it is the HR team, whether it is the CSR team or the environment team. They always come back to us saying, Are ESG mein aur naya kya kare batao? Okay, so now we have done this report, we have done this, but what next? They sometimes come to us telling us what other companies are doing, some of our peers are doing. Like they have visited a peer's office or they have visited a conference and they came across a best practice. So, that's the difference. We've really come across a full circle there. And also we recently raised funds. In June this year, we did our first social bond and we raised $800 million in 2 tranches. So, fundraising through impact investors, through social bonds is again something which is met with a lot of scrutiny, a lot of, external assurance, auditability, credibility. They are investors who are extremely cautious, extremely aware of the risks that come with ESG investing. And so, it kind of rubs off on us also. It makes us even more better, even more, motivated to do more and to do better. So yeah, we've come a full circle.
Completely agree. I think they drive us a lot, our stakeholders also. And that's very important that everybody is aligned and that will take the common goal of achieving this net zero easy for every one of us. Now, if I talk about stakeholders, one of the most important stakeholders in Indian economy is SMEs. They form the backbone, and we work with them a lot. And one of the biggest concern or the myth you can say they have is that this decarbonization or ESG comes with a cost, and they believe that sustainability is not for them, and that's why it's mainly for the bigger organization who has big pockets. Is that perception accurate from their side?
Well, partly in the sense that compliance costs can feel heavy.
Yes.
Especially the smaller the company, the higher the pain, of compliance costs. But I think one has to look beyond that. You have to look at it as teething issues or initial issues. The costs of compliance is a short-term issue, and hiding beneath is the bigger opportunity. The opportunity of building a competitive moat, a competitive advantage. Because as you become compliant, as you start reporting, you realize, okay, what are peers doing? What more can we do? It comes. It happens along the way. When you see, even for instance, there are GRI standards and there are BRSR standards, where there are leadership indicators and there are mandatory, indicators. So you think, how can I be in the leader? And even to disclose any of that, you have to have, implemented it on the ground. So when it comes from a customer's perspective, when it comes from investors' perspective, or even regulatory perspective, the more you think about how I can address certain gaps, how I can become more ESG friendly, and how make it an opportunity and a business advantage, competitive advantage, that's the way to look at it. And the companies who are able to do it and somehow manage to initially meet the compliance costs and do it in a way, they will be the ones who will stand out in the market. They will be the ones the larger companies will look at more.
Definitely, it's an investment for their future, I think.
Yes.
Most of this. But now, just taking a hint from there, if some of the MSME or SMEs, they just want to start their sustainability journey, what's your advice where they should start with? What is the first step they should take that helps them not only in their improving their environmental, but business value also?
Well, I might sound like a cliche, but materiality assessment is where it all starts with. I think what it really helps you do is identify your areas of impact. Not everybody can do everything. Even at IIFL Finance, now there are only certain areas that we can make big impact. When it comes to our customers, when it comes to our financed emissions, when it comes to our CSR activities. because we are not a manufacturing entity, so direct environment footprint will not be as much.
Hmm.
So, identifying that finance estimation or the customers that we lend to, those are the areas that are important for us. Like, I'm just giving you an example of how IIFL Finance does it, and maybe a water consumption is not as important for us, because across our branches, it's only the health and the daily human water consumption, which is very small compared to manufacturing entities. Similarly, an MSME needs to identify what are the areas where it can make change. Someone can be heavily dependent on your normal traditional fossil fuel based energy at the production level. So maybe they can explore converting, to solar panels, or subscribing to green tariffs, or taking those routes. So identifying those 2-3 areas. It could be in your manufacturing, it could be in your product differentiation, it could be on human rights aspect. If it's a trading firm, not employing someone, doing away from child labor or forced labor or those kind of things. So I think it starts with identifying your area of impact, understanding a little more about it, what are the challenges there, and how you can make a difference. And that's how you build, and then building upon it, gradually, to make it into an opportunity, enhancing the performance in that area. Yeah, and not so much, because if you take care of your strengths, the weaknesses will just flow with it. You don't need to just focus on the non-material aspects as much.
Completely agree. Now, as you were talking about that, IIFL has also raised some $800 million impact fund. Do you think these SMEs or anybody, if they want to apply for the lending, so financial institutions like IIFL, they're considering sustainability as one of the important criteria? If companies following that, are they giving some preference compared to companies who are not following it? So is there anything like that in the mind, or is there already happening from your side?
It is happening, whether it is IIFL Finance. So there are certain, like I said, for us, when we raised the social bonds, we have identified certain KPIs. Women borrowers which are underserved, which means your MSME borrowers which are from rural areas, urban areas, last mile connectivity, not urban, but rural and the faraway areas. Those kind of borrowers, those kind of segments, we have already identified.
Okay.
And new to credit customers. So that is monitored very closely. That we make sure that those are the kind of borrowers that we cater to. End use, while we do try to monitor the end use, also we have our own exclusion list. Certain businesses we don't lend to, which are not environment friendly or otherwise, not allowed by regulations. Also, so. Yes, it is happening. It is happening at IIFL Finance. It is happening at banks. It is happening to some extent. I would still say at the larger banking, and the lending scenario, it is happening at a small scale. Why? Because I think if you suddenly stop lending to all the non-compliant or fossil fuel, enabled industries, that could create a different set of problems. So that is like job losses, frozen assets, and what do you say? So the thing is, we are, as financial institutions, should handhold the transition that any MSME needs to make to become, relevant, more sustainable, and not fear, not go in the direction of redundancy by being a climate averse or so to speak kind of an entity. So the idea is to handhold them, and have a transition, a pathway, and that commitment, the intent from the MSME borrower or the investee company, that yes, over time we will become environment friendly, and we are aware and we are willing to change. That willingness to change and the resistance to change is also very, very important from MSMEs end. So we look at these aspects, in terms of where they stand. Even in while our exposure to fossil fuel is negligible, it's almost zero. But I'm saying at a level of the industry and the banking and the lending industry, I think it's more about hand-holding them to become more environment friendly and not completely boycotting the ones, because then that would again not be a very wise choice to make. So it's happening, and a lot of it is data driven. A lot of it is data which can be verified.
Mhm.
because as a lender, as an investor, as an outsider in the company, you need that assurance that whatever is being shown to you is backed by evidence, is backed by, on the ground, proof. And
Yeah.
so the validation becomes very important. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And regarding validation, so and we were also talking about this when we started this, that most of the company businesses when they started this sustainability journey, it was mainly because of the compliance requirement or tick mark activity. But I think most of them now they've started realizing it as a business opportunity also. Correct.
Mm.
How we can do the same for SMEs? We need to, I think, teach them or tell them, okay, don't consider this only as compliance, but because it's also going to give you some business opportunity or it can help you in your long-term growth. That's why you should do this. Correct. Do you think it's a right approach right now, or it should be seen not only as compliance but also as a business opportunity by them, for SMEs at least?
Yes, yes, by everyone. And I think the first step towards that is awareness. And
Awareness.
That's where the lenders, like for instance, we IIFL Finance, MSMEs form a major chunk of our borrowers, and retail borrowers and MSMEs. So we, even within the borrowers, a large part of them use the money for their businesses. The end use is business, growing, expanding their small
Yes.
businesses. So
Mhm.
we tell them, oh, please get your business Udyam registered. Something as basic as that. We
Mhm.
tell them that do not work with, like, certain of our agreements have these clauses about human labor, child labor. So
Uh,
human right aspects, we build in those in our clauses, for our vendors, and a little bit for our borrowers also. And when it comes to borrowers on that side, it is about awareness, telling them what they can do to become more compliant and enhance their own ESG score and credibility, because they are increasingly becoming a part of the lending underwriting process also. So I think awareness is where it all starts from, and constant hand holding, because that sector, again, MSME sector, is very deprived of growth capital. So NBFCs like ours, which have the underwriting mechanisms, the reach, the technology to help them grow, and that hand holding is very much essential. So it all goes hand in hand, in this whole journey.
Yes. And what do you think about this? Definitely, India has become a more export-oriented economy in last few years.
Hmm.
Most of these SMEs they also want to be part of that, and they want to export globally. How important is for them to be sustainability prepared, and is it common across continents, or I think as Europe is more stringent on this, US is more stringent, or some other nation is more stringent. What's your point of view on this?
It's very important because, again, compliance is driving it for the larger entities.
Yes.
Looking at how they are expecting the larger entities to drive the ESG agenda to the last mile, which
Mm.
means the smaller firms, the MSMEs, through value chain sustainability assessments, through those contracts, through measuring scope 3 emissions. A lot of entities, have a significant scope 3 emission footprint, which can only be addressed through the value chain. So
Yes.
it's so while and like you rightly said, Europe is there, but even India, even in India, because lot of our large companies have a global presence. The RILs and the JSWs of the world are present around the world, not just in India. So they
Mm.
are also looking at partnering with those companies which are ESG compliant, which are looking to innovate, looking to create an edge for themselves. And innovation could be the way to for it. And I'm not talking of cost-led innovation or product-led innovation. I'm talking of simple things like process innovation. Identifying what is a gap in the market and how you can use at least address one or two of those gaps as an MSME, and become more ESG compliant, more sustainable, and then project it, communicate it to the larger entities, and position yourself accordingly as and make it a sustainable competitive advantage. So I think it is very, very important from that lens.
And I think here financial institutes can play a major role in creating the awareness, at
Hmm.
least for because they are in direct touch with most of these SMEs, and
Hmm.
while applying or lending them out. you might be accessing them on most of these criteria already, and most of them they might not be aware, and that's where they start getting aware. Okay, to get a better loan or the interest rate or something, we need to be compliant regarding this activities, correct? And
Yes.
those kind of awareness program, I think, already might be getting done from the financial institutes, or I think this is one area where I think they might need your support also.
Yeah, I think here I just want to highlight that our home loan subsidiary IIFL Home Finance has a program called Kutum and Green Value Proposition,
Okay.
where they work with the entire chain in the real estate development, whether it is the builder, it is a contractor, it is a customer, everybody, to help them build affordable green homes. So affordable green home loans is a product that IIFL Home Finance offers, and not just offering that product, but they handhold through continuous sessions, on the ground sessions, the entire value chain. They handhold the entire value chain on how to make green homes which are affordable. Not inflate the price of a product just because of it is green. We have published the guidebook also for green building, which is there on our website, IIFL Home Finance website. So that's just one example of how we are driving awareness. Yeah.
I think that's great initiative.
Yeah.
Just looking ahead 5 years down the line, how do you think this Indian businesses will access climate finance and build more sustainable operations? So I think it will become more stringent in the future? Right now, there is at least some leeway. 5 years down the line, maybe from finance side, it will be more stringent in distributing, I think, lending or loans to most of these companies. And do you think what these business should expect over next 5 years? Is there any, I think, vision in the making, or is it going to be with the flow we are going to change in India?
No, so we do have a net zero. India as a country does have a net zero, target put out publicly.
Yes.
And if you want to achieve that, you have to take along the MSMEs, because they are the bigger chunk of the, population wise in this, and so the coverage, you have to take them along. So the just the word talk, or just the talk on net zero will move away from actual implementation. Right now, if there are certain companies who are just talking about it without having an action plan, the action plans will firm up more and more. It will become operational execution. See, there will also be, like you said, SEBI's BRSR core disclosure, or the Europe's CBAM, the carbon border adjustment mechanism. Other national, there are also some taxonomies in place. In Europe, even in India, green bonds, blended finance, all those things, and investors and customers looking, all these factors together will drive the change. And instead of waiting for that to happen, and at the same time on the ground, you will see businesses being affected. Like the other day there was a World Bank report which said that because of climate change and because of global warming, there will be a lot of job losses of people on the ground, because it will be very difficult for them to work on the ground, because it will be so hot and warm, the climate. So as the realities of climate change hit us more and more in our daily life, we will have to wake up from our slumber and act on it. It will just be a natural way of responding. So I think between regulations, awareness of customers, and the realities of climate change, there is no other way but to start change and adapt change and embrace change.
Definitely agree, and that's, I think, one piece of advice and that you can leave to every SME owner who is listening to this, and even not listening, to be profitable and future ready. What would it be?
Act now, embrace change, and listen to what the customers are telling you, listen to what the investors or the regulators are telling you, and try to be innovative, try to drive innovation and stand out in a market which is increasingly becoming very, very monotonous. Stand out in a crowd through your innovation, through your first mover advantage in the area, especially in the area of ESG, because it is still not considered it is still not at the top of minds. So make it a top of mind reality for you. At least those 1, 2, 3 areas of impact which you find are very, very important for your company.
Okay. Thanks for your time. I think we'll just close this with some rapid fire questions, if that's fine with you. 4 or 5
Yes, yes,
questions. Yes.
absolutely.
So yeah. So one word to describe the future of sustainable finance in India.
Catalytic.
Yeah.
Will bring about change and how.
Change. Definitely. I think the change, most of the change will come from there. One sustainability metric every SME should know.
I think carbon intensity and even your water
Mm.
consumption and intensity, because what gets measured gets managed.
Yeah. Compliance or competitive advantage, which will drive this sustainability faster.
Both, both. It goes hand in hand. There's no either and or here.
Yes. So one climate regulation business should not ignore over the next few years.
But I know value chain disclosures are not yet mandatory by
Mhm.
BRSR, but you should not ignore that. Scope 3 emissions and value chain disclosures. Do not wait for regulations to come in for that. Just do it.
Okay, the last one. Just complete this sentence. And the business that will lead tomorrow are the ones that.
Embrace change.
Yes, I think suitably answered all the questions. Sheetal, thank you for joining us and sharing your
Thank you for
insights.
having me.
I think one of the most important takeaway for us is uh, most of this what you are telling, that from the financial side you guys are already driving the change, and you think that it would be more visible in next few years when most of these SMEs they start realizing what is changing. I think that's the important takeaway. And the other one is, yes, compliance and competitive advantage and business can go hand in hand, which is already happening. And
Mm.
most of these SMEs on the business in India, they should try to address this now. Thanks once again for joining us, Sheetal. It
Thank
was
you.
pleasure having you and listening to you.
Thank you for having me, and it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.